welcome to Be Hero Fights. I'm Tom,
And I'm Brian.
and we are here to discuss
Or Fuss.
over two or more hotly debated, highly related topics.
So last week, we had a little interruption with one of our Ghoul episodes. Go back and take a listen to that and catch up on all three of the Ghoul episodes we had. And
It was a new
before that,
transmission, actually. It's not because anyone went on vacation. There was a
No.
split in the time space differential, and we got a transmission from the other world. So that's what happened.
What he said. Anyhow, and as such, with a bit of the issues we had, you can tell we're not in our normal studio. We're actually doing this again remote with our friends from Riverside FM. And stay tuned, you'll hear that fun little speech I'll talk about Riverside FM, one of our great sponsors.
Mhm.
But this week, we are doing something similar but different. There's been so many lists that you guys have talked to us about and brought up to us about debates that just weren't enough to do a full episode on. So what we decided to do was mini episodes. So this whole episode will be nothing but mini debates. We'll have several of them and a couple of other extra bits that we don't normally have. But we'll catch up to that in just a second.
Exactly. Before we get too far into that, let's go over. We've had a lot going on our social medias the last little bit, on Instagram, on Twitter, and everything. Specifically with the fights that we post for you guys, the audience, our fans, on there. So there's one fight in particular that we got a decent response from, a little bit of feedback. So I kind of wanted to dive into that a little bit for a second. The question was, what is Zack Snyder's best zombie movie? For those that don't know, he has two. Most recently, a Netflix original film called Army of the Dead, but also going way back, he remade George A. Romero's Dawn of the Dead. So we wanted to pit those two movies against each other and see what you guys thought.
Yep.
And so we got a few responses that we wanted to talk about. First off, from HSV Home Video, some friends of ours in the podcast community, they said Dawn of the Dead by a lot. I agree. I wholeheartedly agree. Don't get me wrong, I liked Army of the Dead, but
As did I.
I think Dawn of the Dead, I don't. It's got maybe it's nostalgia, maybe it is, but it's got a special place in my heart. I love that movie.
I agree, and like Dawn of the Dead, is so totally different than what Army of the Dead is, and it feels like such a great homage to the original Dawn of the Dead. It's just a great quality movie. Not saying the Army of the Dead isn't great, but Army of the Dead is 100% a Zack Snyder movie compared to Dawn of the Dead, which is an homage to a George A. Romero movie.
Well, homage and remake of a George A. Romero movie.
Well, yeah.
In case anyone wasn't aware, but want to make sure we don't get slandered by the interwebs.
Yeah, it's not like you said remake 7 times beforehand, but sure.
Well, homage implies other things, so just
anyhow. Next on that is Justin said, hard to really compare them given how different they are, as we just mentioned. But if I was to choose one I wanted to rewatch over the other, it would definitely be Dawn of the Dead. And again, I agree. It's such a high quality movie. And I think largely it's because it's less Snydery than the other. Nothing to bash Zack Snyder. What he does is definitely a niche that people enjoy. It's just not always for me. It's like having like super hot wings. I enjoyed them on occasion. So, yeah.
Yeah, well, and it was early on in his career, and he had a lot to prove, and so a lot of what he was doing back then was taking existing properties, existing material, and bringing a new light, a new perspective to it. And so what he did with Dawn of the Dead, even going beyond that, what he did with 300
Yep.
and The Watchmen, stuff like that, like, he had a lot to prove. And so, in that sense, I really like it. Plus, Dawn of the Dead really, it was very early on for the current pop culture phenomenon of zombies. And it definitely was a big player in setting the stage to what we have now.
Yeah.
So yeah, for that's another reason why I'm a huge fan of it. The last comment that I just wanted to bring up real quick was from Casey. Casey says, I wouldn't compare them. Dawn of the Dead was a bit more on a serious / dramatic side of the zombie genre. Army of the Dead seemed to be more of an action thriller type. I thoroughly enjoyed both, but for different reasons. And you know what? I think that probably most articulately sums up these two movies because they are definitely very different and very entertaining in their own right.
Agreed. It's like I was saying. It's just one is more the Zack Snyder style relative to the other, and it's pick your poison. It's which one you prefer in that
Mm-hmm.
style.
Yeah.
So, mind you, that being said, most of the comments we saw was for Dawn of the Dead. So you see what's going on there. Yeah, right. Anyhow, don't
If
forget,
you guys
guys.
want to see us take that fight on and debate it live, though, let us know. Hit us
Right,
up in the comments. Facebook.com/BeHeroMedia, Instagram.com/BeHeroMedia.
everything you can comment right here on YouTube. Just drop a little comment down there, as well as while you're there, hit the subscribe button, the little bell notification. That way, you know whenever we come on for anything that we do. In addition, you can hit up Twitter, and you can find us at either Be Hero or excuse me, at Be Hero Media or Be Hero Fights, and everything that is Be Hero Media at BeHeroMedia.com.
Exactly.
Now,
So
before we
now that
go
we
on,
got.
hold on,
Okay.
son, quit jumping ahead.
My bad. My bad.
Before we go on, we started our new trend last week, or well, 2 weeks ago, for the whiskey of the week. And the
Yes.
whiskey of the week, or alcohol of the week, as it were, is going to tie in to each episode that we do. And since we're doing a blended amount of debates, we're going to be talking about a blended whiskey. Specifically, we got Porter's Fire here. It's a locally brewed Utah one here, and this one is a cinnamon whiskey with vanilla in it, and it is honestly one of my favorite whiskeys I've had recently. It is so insanely good. I'm not a big fan normally of cinnamon whiskey, but vanilla added in there just cuts that just enough to make it smooth and just awesome. And you can find porters. You can order online through their website if you're not in Utah. If you're in Utah, they're at the liquor store. But you can find them just about anywhere.
He says that like so perfectly as if we're sponsored by them. We're totally not. But having tried it's not bad. I'm not a huge fan of cinnamon whiskeys. I don't really drink Fireball anymore. I used to love that, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's really a very good, very smooth, easy to drink whiskey. It's not too much on the cinnamon side, but also has, because it has that hint of vanilla, it kind of tempers it properly. Um, but yeah, let's kind of explain what we're doing this week because it is a little bit different. We are kind of blending arguments, fights, topics, and
Yes.
we have a full gambit coming at you this week. It's gonna be really fun, really interesting.
But along with that, we not only just have a full amount of questions that we need to go and debate about, but there's so many that you guys have given us by hitting us up on our social medias and on our Discord that we share with the show boys. That we will also you also see here in the comments that we couldn't do this by ourselves. So we reached out to a couple of new friends, and they are joining us on here, as well as Moose will be judging for us and reading off those questions. And let's go ahead and introduce our new friends. Tom?
That's right. So joining us for his first time ever, a awesome guest, a dear friend of mine. We go way back. We've been in a couple meme groups together, slandering the interwebs with belligerence. Nigel,
Okay.
welcome. How are you doing tonight, bud?
Almost there. Almost there.
Almost there.
Almost
Take
there.
another shot.
That's right.
Tell us about yourself, Nigel. Tell everyone how the awesomeness that is you.
Been living in Utah for most of my life with a lot of different people I've been meeting. Kearns is where I've been meeting most of them. A lot of different good people out here. I just barely moved out here a couple months ago. Just been working on getting my business started and trying to get things going, trying to meet more good people.
Right on.
Awesome.
What's your business that you're doing?
Entertainment. The wipe the board, just the whole 9 yards. I want to do comic books. I want to do video games. I want to do anime especially. I got a few
Nice.
definitely good ideas that I'm going to be putting on the board with an artist that I just got hired on. Once everything gets started, I'm hoping January. We'll be seeing some work production from her.
Yeah, you sent me some of the just the doodles that she was doing, and they're absolutely incredible. So not only like am I super excited for what you guys are going to do, but I like everyone needs to check this out. Like
Yep.
what she can do, just kind of doodling at work, kind of doing her thing. Like that's incredible. And we've talked for a little bit now, and I'm just really excited to see what your two creative minds can come up with, and we are really excited to have you, Nigel, on tonight.
Thank you.
So,
That's right.
yeah. Also joining us, we have Gina.
Hello.
How are you doing, Gina?
Oh, I'm here. How are
Yeah.
you?
Gina and I, we go way back. We went to different high schools together. Tell us about yourself, Gina.
Oh, man. Well, I am a stay-at-home mom, business owner, intuitive tarot reader, but mostly a stay-at-home mom. Superwoman, if you will.
There you go.
Yeah, living in
That's-
Central California from New York City.
Okay.
Originally.
Right
From
on.
New York City.
Yes, originally.
I was in New York City. Well, New York and New Jersey, but
Oh,
in Manhattan quite a bit. For the last 2 weeks.
Oh.
I just barely got back last night at like 11.
So
Brian
you
picked
have
me
to
up.
deal with the hurricane.
Oh my God, the storms there were crazy.
I was watching
Literally, like, this is gonna sound really bad. So I think it was Monday. My brother and I and his wife, we were playing Age of Empires 2, the definitive edition, with a couple of other of our siblings, and the storm was raging. It was a flash flood. It was insane. And we're sitting here complaining about the internet going in and out. Meanwhile, there's this flash flood going on, and may I just say, like, people were caught in it. It actually was very, very bad. And for those that lost what they lost, my heart goes out to you. That was a horrible situation.
Yeah,
So.
I don't have any my mother lives in Jersey. I don't really have any family left in Brooklyn, but she said that she was seeing tornadoes dropping right above the hill from her. I'm like, I'm
Yeah.
so glad that the Wicked Witch of the East is there and the house can fall on her head because I'm done.
Yeah, no, we saw some video clips, after the fact, just like the water coming down on top of the subway and then rushing down the stairs. It was just sweeping people away. It was absolutely insane. So definitely, for whatever your background may be, send your good vibes, whatever that means to you, to those people out there. They need it.
Definitely,
Mhm.
definitely. All
So.
right, guys. Well,
I'm ready to fight.
so what we're dang right, man. Let's do this.
Also,
All right.
Moose. Did we introduce Moose? Did we
No,
bring
I
it?
was literally about to do that.
I interrupted. Okay.
Yes, you did. All right. So once again, Moose is going to be doing our judging here. You'll see him popping up here in a second if you hadn't seen him already. So Moose, welcome back. How are we doing?
Good. Tired. That's about it.
Poetic as always. And
Oh.
then, so what we're going to do here for this episode, Moose is going to go ahead and fire off a couple of questions to a pair of us at a time. We're going to do a cutthroat lightning round style. What that means is we'll have two debaters going at one time. Winner moves on, loser goes or drops down, and we bring in another debater. If the winner wins 2 in a row, they drop down. Otherwise, it proceeds. And we're going to try and do as many of these to get a points to see who wins at the end of this. So let's go ahead and start just so we get this going, and both Nigel and Gina can see how we're going to do this. Where me and Tom will start off first. So Ryan, go ahead and give us our first question, and then before we go on, after this round, the loser gets to choose which side of the debate they want to be on. Or essentially, they will argue first. So,
Okay.
all right, Ryan, let's go ahead.
Okay. Let's start off with a superhero related question. Would you rather be able to fly or read people's minds?
Tom, go ahead and choose first.
I'm gonna go with fly.
All right. Well, tell us why.
Okay, so the power of flight. There's many reasons why. First of all, I have enough anxiety that I deal with, and having dealt with depression, and knowing the people that I know and the community that surrounds me, I don't need their shit compiling on top of mine.
Oh.
I could not deal with hearing everyone's thoughts. I can barely deal with hearing their voices. So I want the ability to fly. I want to be able to travel to visit family in New York, family in San Diego. I got friends all over the country, Tennessee, Ohio. I want to be able to just jump up and fly, take off, go wherever I want. That is the ultimate superpower out of these two.
Well, that one's definitely a hard one to go against because flight definitely is a top level superpower. Uh, but I always come up with the thought anytime I ever think about like having the ability of flying is bugs and bird poop in the face as I'm flying, right? Because that's gonna come like full speed at you, especially if you're flying like at like airports or air flight speed, so like anywhere between 300 and 400 miles an hour. You're gonna hit that right in the face, right? That's not gonna be good for you. But reading of the minds, that gives you the ability of doing just about anything you want. Now, I'm going to put a caveat on this if it does not have the downside of not being able to control it. Now, if you're like, Professor Xavier level of mind reading, that's where the money is right there. So let's say that you're like, oh, I got this mind reading power. I'm going to go make some money. I'm going to go to Vegas. I'm going to go play some of those, Binion table tournaments, and I will, fool's bluffing me. I can beat this guy, yada yada. You're gonna win all the money. All that money you were making right there gives you a nice, cozy private flight to anywhere you want to. So it gives you the power of flight with the ability of mind reading. You can pick up any chick or dude, whichever you're into, and be able to do as you wish because you know what the other person's thinking. You're always gonna win an argument, like I just won this one.
You did not just win this one because I have a quick rebuttal. First of all, you talk about like hitting bugs. You know what? That shit happens when you're on a boat or when you're in a convertible or on a motorcycle or you're just running down the sidewalk. That's not different. And avoiding birds and bird poop. I'm flying, man. I can fly over them. Like when you're flying, you can see the bird. That is so easy to avoid. That's not even a counter argument. What is a counter argument, though? You know what? Yeah, you talk about like using it while you're playing Texas Hold'em and at the tables and everything. But here's the thing: you're going to end up inevitably using that whilst you're trying to court someone. And what you're going to find is you're going to hear thoughts that you don't want to hear about yourself. Not only do you not want to hear them, you should not hear them. And that is not appropriate. It's an invasion of privacy. People are constantly sorting through their thoughts. And at different times, they're thinking different things. That doesn't mean that is exactly how they feel because your thoughts and your feelings are separate. So you're going to be hearing their thoughts, but that doesn't necessarily align with their feelings. And that's going to confuse you and make things much more difficult for personal and professional relationships.
First of all, I'm a narcissist, so everyone always has good thoughts about me. Secondly, you hit a bug at 300 miles an hour, it's going to suck. But let's go ahead and cut this one because we got a lot more to go through. Moose, what are you thinking?
Okay. So, Brian, I think you almost had me there with the, with the caveat of being able to turn it off and on at different times. I think you almost had me there, but I think I got to side with Tom on this one where I don't think I want to know what people think of me. I don't want to know what people are thinking all the time. I'd much rather just be able to fly away from them.
Yeah, I guess that's all I get for being a narcissist. I know all the thoughts people are thinking about me. So,
I think you're amazing, Brian. But Gina, real quick, do you have any thoughts
Me?
as the peanut gallery?
Oh, yes. See, I'm on the side of Brian. Here's why. I'm an intuitive very deeply. So I already have a good sense of what's on people's minds. So having that clairvoyance of being able to completely understand and learning how to control it, to me, is better than flying. Because like he said, you can earn that, and you can be able to get on that first class flight and go get your ass to Tahiti and get your sun on. That's how I feel about that.
I like your perspective, and I'm not going to argue against that because the fight is over. But I actually no, that is actually a very good point, though. But Nigel, you're up. What's the next question, Ryan? Moose.
see.
Sorry, Moose, not Ryan.
Oof.
You guys
How
didn't hear
dare
that.
you.
You didn't hear that. It's not Ryan. It's Moose.
Right.
We quit bringing it up. It was already passed.
Shut up.
All right. Would you rather be deaf or blind?
And that's
Start off with
me?
you, Nigel. Yep.
Okay, deaf or blind. Oof. Damn. Deaf. If you're deaf, you can still play video games. And if I don't have video games, I don't have life. End of argument.
That is a good point. I thought about this question. It's been asked to me many times. But you know what? I would rather be blind. As a musician, music is everything to me. I want to be able to hear music. The passion that comes from that. And you know what? You know what comes with vision? Vanity. Vanity comes. And so you end up judging people so much more than they actually are as a person. And if I had to give something up, I would rather give up the vanity for something truly, truly special. That emotion that comes through being able to hear music.
All right, I got a rebuttal for that one. I hate to say this, but my roommate watches Switched at Birth, which a young lady is deaf, and her friends are all deaf. There's a deaf school, and I'm literally watching all the signing. I can't do it. Thank you. That's all I got. But it was, don't tell nobody this, internet, shut up. It was moving. All the different moments where they're having to connect with people who can't hear, and them signing, still being able to see their loved ones. I don't know. That hit me.
Yeah, but just because you can see them, that doesn't like the other sense is like being able to feel them, like having worked sales, phone sales specifically, you can tell by listening to someone, you can hear the things in their voice. Like it can be just as telling as vision. And so like we're talking about, apples and oranges here. Like both of them are absolutely incredible and absolutely, I wouldn't say essential, but like so easy to take for granted for everyone that has all their senses. But those that are missing one or the other, that doesn't make their life any less. And again, I think I'm just going to have to go back to the vanity here. Vision causes a lot of vanity. There's so much superficial advertising and things that I think that are more than anything a problem with society today, that comes from just looking at something. When we see something, we judge a book by its cover so much faster than when we hear something. So
Truth.
I got one more. It's inappropriate,
All right.
but boobs. You can't hear boobs.
You can feel them.
Yes,
was
but
gonna
you can't
say-
hear them.
All right, let's
Ask
go ahead
a
and cut.
deaf person.
Let's cut this real fast.
Yeah.
Just before Ryan, you give us your answer. I do want to put out a thing. If you're blind, you have a better excuse to feel boobs. You have to be like, where they at? Okay. Secondly, all right, Ryan, go ahead and give us your answer.
Well, with that added point in there.
No, don't.
No,
You
don't
can't use
count,
that
don't
added
count.
point.
Wait, hold on.
That's
I have
Brian's
something to
point.
say.
You
Hold on,
can't.
let Gina go in real fast. Go ahead, Gina.
As a woman that has
With
boobies,
boobs.
y'all keep your hands
Yes.
to yourself, first off. Second, as a mother, okay, I'm kind of on the fence about this, because there are times where I wish my hearing would go because that high pitched scream, okay?
Oh yeah.
But then when he tells me he loves me, that's a whole different story. I don't think I could ever miss a day without seeing those blue eyes. But having this, to be able to feel my son and maybe hear him and then put earplugs in and maybe not be able to see him would probably be so much more important and special as a mother, because having that closeness, being able to, the touch is so much more important than sight. Because I agree.
You made that.
Yes, exactly. And I agree with you, Tom. As a woman who has grown up in the 90s, that heroin chic and all that bullshit that we've gone through, it's all because of what people see, how they perceive us, and how we have to try to keep up with all this shit. And let me tell you, as a 36-year-old woman, I want to rip my fucking hair out regularly because of all of this nonsense in our society. So I agree with you, Tom. But I am on the fence about it because that shit with the screaming is enough.
Says every parent ever.
Yes, exactly.
All right, Ryan, go ahead.
Well, let's see. I think Nigel, I think you got it. I think you convinced me. I would much rather be deaf. I'd rather be able to play video games. That too. See them. I can have subtitles on for TV. I can do all these other things that help out. But if I can't see anything and all I can do is hear, then I mean, as much as I love music, I'd rather be able to see.
There you go.
So I think you got me.
All right.
I'm gonna add just one little snippet here. My actual personal answer is I actually also would prefer vision because of one reasons. While I made that argument for music, if you've never been to a deaf concert, they're an incredible thing, and you can still feel it. You can feel the music. So, anyways,
Yeah.
go on.
And Beethoven.
All right, Nigel won that. Brian, you're up.
All right. Was Gina going to fight?
I'm staying in the
remember.
peanut gallery. Thank you.
Peanut Gallery. All right. Nigel, it's you and I. Let us
Go
do
ahead.
these.
Okay. Is the age difference between two partners important in adult relationships?
Brian?
I'm gonna go with no. And I actually have real world experience on this. I have both dated both ends of the spectrum. I've dated women who are a lot older than me, women who are a lot younger than me, and my grandparents. My grandparents are 14 years apart in age, and they found each other much later in life. But they both have great conversations and are very much in love. Now, my wife, my current wife, hopefully my forever wife,
She's a
she's only 2 years younger than me, but a couple of girlfriends beforehand was 12 years older than I was. And we still had a lot to talk about. I think the more important part about relationships is more about how the common ground between the two of you and not the common ground between the decade you grew up in. All right, Nigel.
You good? Okay. All right.
Yeah.
It matters because, well, I'm 36. I got hit on by a 20-year-old. No. Thank you. Flattered. It was very kind of her. I was like, oh, you, go on, fresh. But then just, I have daughters. I've got 3 daughters, technically 4. One of them's not mine, but she calls me dad.
There
And
you go.
my interactions with them are, date someone around your age. I don't want to have to hurt anybody. So, for me, yeah, if you're growing up and some older guy's hitting on you, ew. Obviously, if you're over the age of like 25, I don't know, that's a little different. But at 25 and 35, that's okay. Still 35, or hell, even like 29 or 30, and you're getting towards like 20, 21. I think it's not okay with me. I'm good.
All right. Well, the rebuttal with that, I also have 2 daughters, and I am very much in that same boat. If my daughters were 18 and getting hit on by a 27-year-old, I would, go and start cleaning that shotgun. Oh, mine. But I think it deals more about, in the relationship, it's more about your maturity than it is about the age. If I were to sit down and talk with the guy at 27 and my daughter at 18 and find that they're on around the same level of maturity, of course, as a father, I'm still going to be like, but I'm the less end of that. And it's more about what they are. And if I can see that they have the similar maturity level to each other and whatnot, that's where it's more important. Now, I'm not going to say that there aren't 27-year-old hound dogs that are trying to get to that 18-year-old, but there are a lot of people out there, myself included, when I was 25 and dating a 18-year-old. She was 18 when I met her. Just put it out there, But our maturity level is very much the same. She was in the wrestling world with me, so we had a very similar contrast of like a similar sphere of relationships, relativity that we could do, and our maturity levels were about the same.
Gotcha.
So I think it's more about maturity level than it is about age level.
Okay, I got one more to that.
Yeah.
I was on my front porch with my daughters, and I had left a machete outside and let the rain get to it, and so it was nice and rusty. And I tell my daughters, "What's this for?" My littlest one, blonde hair, blue eyes, tan skin, beautiful as. I'm going to jail for that one.
Yep.
I go, "What's this for?" And my littlest one, she goes, "Oh, that's for killing little boys." I said, "Yes, yes, it is. It is for killing little boys." And why would Daddy ever kill a little boy? And my youngest, she goes again. She goes, "Oh, that's if you don't get him to meet you at the house and everything's good and Daddy likes it." Oh yeah, if Daddy doesn't like it, little boy dies. So yes.
Yes, that's right. Now, just put it out there, we're not condoning young underage deaths.
I would never hurt nobody.
It's more
I
about
would
the
never hurt
metaphor.
nobody.
Child
No,
murder.
It's about the
Oh, God.
metaphor. But,
absolute metaphor. Absolute metaphor.
I have a couple thoughts. I feel like the peanut gallery should just give a couple thoughts real quick.
Yep.
So I'm going to try and keep this unbiased. Having dated someone 10 years older and at one point 5 years younger, so a little bit different there. But I think, Nigel, I think you kind of hit it on the head in my thoughts as far as like there, if you're 29 dating a 19-year-old, it's different from a 25 and a 35-year-old. So I think because of that, and it's not just the cultural like perspective behind it. I think, like Brian, what you were saying is there is the maturity that comes with age. And yes, like a 25 to a 19-year-old or an 18-year-old, like I feel like that's a lot closer in maturity to a 25 to 35-year-old. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't know. This is a hard one. I just wanted to add that. And last thing I just want to say is, of course, just remember, anyone possibly listening, adult relationships 18 and up.
For sure.
Just don't anyone forget that.
Yes. Definitely 18 plus on this one.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Gina?
Yes. Okay. So, okay, I'm kind of on the fence about this, and here's why. Because women tend to mature a lot faster than men. Period. Point blank. It's the truth of the matter. Okay. Now, when I was 18, I was dating 26-year-olds. When I was 18, 17, dating people much older than me, because men my age are fucking retarded and don't have no damn. Listen, okay. Half the time, now this is from my own personal experience, half the time they don't know how to spend their money right, save it. They don't know how to keep it in their hands. They don't know how to not have, put people in third party situations that they don't want to be in. Okay, period. If you go into a situation knowing it, fine. But most of the people I have come in contact with that are either my age or younger have no damn sense. Now, I have been in situations where I have somebody in my life, even currently, that's 15 years older than me. Now, he don't have no damn sense in his head either, but at least he's much more responsible. Like it really just depends. Now, if you're somebody that's 15 years old and I catch them, I'm going to say it for any of my children, if I catch somebody that's 15 years old with somebody that's 25, I will whoop a bitch's ass. I wish a bitch would. No way. Will somebody be no? There has to be limitations to everything, Yeah. Like I think it was you that said it, Tom. 18 years or older, you can do whatever you want, but have some sense in your head about it. That's
for sure.
Yeah, and for any young, youth that are listening to this, anyone under the age of 18, follow the wisdom of your parents. Do your best. Be smart.
Yes.
Stay in school. Don't do drugs.
Damn right.
Don't do drugs.
Yeah, wait till you're 18 at least.
Yeah.
All right, Ryan. Go ahead.
No, I think I think that it does. It does definitely matter after us. Well, I say up to a certain point. It matters up until about 25 years old. And then the age difference doesn't really matter after that.
So which side are you giving this to then? It sounds like you went with both.
I did.
That's based on the arguments, Ryan. Are you voting Brian or Nigel?
I think I'm going to go Nigel on that one.
Oh, I know someone who's writing tests when I get to work on Monday.
Hey, I got plenty of tests to write when I get to work.
All right, Nigel, you're on a 2-win streak, so Brian and I are going back at it. The age-old competition. You're going down, Brian.
All right, go ahead, sir. Ryan, what's the next question?
Let's see. Is social media making us more connected or just making it easier to stalk each other?
It's really odd end of the question, but okay. Tom, since you're the new one into this argument, why don't you go ahead?
Wow. Because the answer is both. So which side am I on?
Both.
I'm gonna go with more connected. So here's my argument for that. With anything, there's a positive and a negative side effect. So yes, there are going to be people that are going to be using it the wrong way, but never before in history have people been able to connect with their friends, their kin, their family all over the world on a second's notice. You can connect with family anywhere. You can make new friends anywhere. Nigel and I, for example, we live right next to each other, basically. We didn't know it, but because of the internet, because of social media, we now have this new friendship, this new bond. The internet makes it so much easier. Social media specifically, because of that, people can keep in contact with long lost friends, and it allows us to create relationships that are more meaningful and more impactful, and they don't have to end just because you moved.
Right on. This question is kind of difficult to do a general debate on because it is an either or and not like a yes or no kind of scenario. But I'm gonna do my best on this. It is definitely that it is able to make us more connected, but that is also the detriment because it is also able to make it so that people are going to use this bad to do things like stalking. Give you an example, right? I've known of people, I'm not going to name any names, but I've known of people who have been in relationships, horrible relationships, and gotten out of that relationship. Did the right thing, blocked the people on social medias and things like that. But because we are so connected to each other, that person's still able to look up all the information that they needed to find about my friend to find out what they needed to do to stalk that person because they were able to find them through another friend or through another group or what have you. There is so much stuff. I mean, Tom, you're a great example. This just happened to Tom not too long ago about him losing his phone. He lost his phone in an Uber car, and because of social media and a conversation we had with him and the internet in general, he was able to stalk the guy down to know exactly where the dude lived and where he left his phone, and he took his phone to a Walmart kiosk. He knew that because the internet is overly connected, and Tom stalked somebody for this because of such.
He stole my phone.
I'm not saying you didn't have a justifiable reason.
Don't use my stories against me. I knew you were going to.
Say so. You used it in a way that it could be used beneficially. Okay, but there's so many options for making it poor or making it used poorly that's the thing. And to go against what you talk about with meeting Nigel, Nigel's a great guy and everything else. Apparently, you guys live so close enough. All you had to do was go out to the 7-Eleven, and you guys could have met each other. Okay, so there is a possibility that you could still have done that without social media. Now, I'm not saying that social media doesn't expand that area, but is it worth it if there's the possibility that you and or your loved ones could be stalked because of it?
Look, social media, like anything, is just an expansion. It's just another avenue. So yes, like there was obviously the chance that Nigel and I could have met at the 7-Eleven, just picking up a slice of pizza and a Slurpee together, by happenstance. But because of social media, it made it relevant because both of us are part of a meme group. and we were both very like-minded. So we were both able to join something, a group of like-minded people where we could just be ourselves unjudged. And that is how we met. And that was so much more limited before social media. Yes, you could have posted something in the newspaper, I guess, in the classified section, but that's a stretch, like those types
Do a
of things.
personal
Like
ad.
you would have had to go to church, and that's not for everyone. Like you
Need
would have had
friend,
to
enter
join
invitation.
some communal group that might not have been your thing, but because of social media, we have the ability to target our specific interests and meet and make new connections because of that. Now, yes, like with anything, like with humanity, being able to create and use fire to cook, that also came with a detriment. Every tool comes with a detriment. So you can't just say that social media is bad because there's a bad side of it, because let's be honest, it does way more good. There is way more people using it for good. The people that are using it for bad are few and far between. And yes, they're the center of news media stories because it's shock and awe, but they are the minority.
Well, just a last real quick rebuttal before we move on. Um, they've had the ability of doing community-like things, like what social media does, like your meme group, for decades, right? So they've had like the Masons, they've had hunter club or hunt clubs, they've had map
Religion,
clubs,
like I said, religious
religion. Well,
groups.
no, like that, like you look at like gentlemen's clubs, like the hunters clubs, the adventure clubs, things like that are not dealt with religion. They're like-minded activities that people had, even into the 1900s, like the 1970s or so, when they started doing like the YMCA. They had communities like that that would be able to allow people who had like-minded things that wanted to go and do a community event or meet other people like them there. You could do that. That all you did was expand it, but is it worth doing where you have the higher capacity of getting creepy stalker people coming after you and or your children? I literally have to have a special spot on my social media of my for my kids, that I don't post pictures of my kids on my Facebook directly. They get posted to a special section in my Facebook so that people don't see my kids unless they're from friends or family I've already deemed worthy enough to do so. So, but before we move on, have Ryan make a decision. Peanut Gallery, what's our thoughts?
Ladies first.
Oh, thank you. Um, yeah, I mean, I agree. See, I am from Brooklyn originally. I live all the way out here in California. My mother's in Jersey. My father's in Texas. I got friends all over the damn map. Truly, being a servicewoman, I've got people all over the place. If I didn't have social media, I wouldn't be able to keep up with Nigel. I wouldn't be able to keep up with my parents. I wouldn't be able to keep up with anything. We have no family here. Like my son wouldn't be able to see his grandparents. We wouldn't be able to do anything. We'd be sitting here with our thumbs up our ass trying to figure out where we're going. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yep.
we need it. But you're right. We also have this other side, the dark side of the moon, if you will, of these fools coming in here trying to act stupid. You know, tapping into people's shit. Like I have this thing on my computer now where I have to slide my camera up and down because they're hacking and stalking and all this stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Oh
I
yeah.
do a lot. I mean, I have an online business. I do stuff on YouTube. I got people all up and down in my business. I can only imagine the people stalking me. And let me tell you something. In my readings, I get stalker status all the time. I've got people stalking me left and right, throwing black magic at me. If y'all believe in that stuff, it's true. And it happens all over the place, and it's disgusting, but it does bring us closer together. But like you said, when you get one good, you got to deal with the bad, and it is the minority. So I agree.
All right.
Tinder.
Nigel? Tinder. Yeah, just leave it there. Tinder.
Yeah.
I mean, you're definitely like-minded. All right. Ryan, your thoughts?
Uh, gosh, I think I'm with you on this one, Brian. I think that it has made it far too easy to stalk people. I was thinking about the exact situation that you were talking about with Tom. That's all I could think about was how we stalked that guy. So there's things like that. But going even past that, then you've got like talking about outside activities. Tom's in his kickball league and does stuff
Yep.
like that. There's plenty of ways to meet people. You don't have to throw the risk of being stalked online. And I also do the same thing that you do. I post pictures of my girls in a specific group meant for just family members, so
Yep.
only they can see it. So I'm with you. I think it makes it far too easy to stalk people.
Yeah.
I want
And-
to add just one little thing.
Mhm.
I didn't use social media to stalk that guy who stole my phone. That had zero. In fact, he doesn't have social media at all. He doesn't have social media. The way I was able to do that was because I had location turned on my phone and it was in his car. So I was able to track him because of that. But I do want to say, deep down, I think it was kind of, I do see both sides. I can argue against Brian's points. We could absolutely make a full episode out of this, but that's kind of not what
For
we're
sure.
about. We don't like to get too deep into the weeds of political climate. But I just wanted to add the point that, like, no matter what it is, parents, the best thing you can do is just learn to have healthy communication with your kids. I've got 2 kids. I love them to death. I do everything I can to try and just like keep a healthy line of communication with them so that they never feel like that they have to hide anything from me. And I think that's what's most important. So I just wanted to add that.
Agreed.
And beating your kids never, that never hurt anything.
Yeah.
Be sensitive to them. That's fine.
All right. So cool. I got a win on there. All right, Nigel. You're up. You need
So-
2 more to win this out.
Well, Nigel and Brian, you both have 2 wins, right?
I have 1 win. Nigel's
You
got
have
2.
1. Okay.
Yep.
So
I
I
don't
have
mind
1.
stepping in
Brian
now.
has 1. Nigel has 2. All right. So Brian, if you win, then what I'm gonna say is, if you win, Brian, then you and Nigel will do one more tiebreaker round. If you win, you win. So
Yeah, Nigel.
Okay. All right, let's make this one a good one then.
Oh
If
yeah.
you guys want me to step in, I can. I'll take him down.
Well, we're trying to go with this for mix of both time, making sure that the scores end
okay.
up about the
No
same.
worries.
So
Next time. Me and
for
you guys.
sure, we'll get you
Next
on as a
time.
debater one of these times.
Hey, sounds good to me.
Okay.
All right, Ryan.
Does intelligent alien life exist?
Oh God.
And I get first?
You get first.
Oh, it does. Unquestionably, undoubtedly, unequivocally. My man, you will not win. So, hands down, no, there's so much stuff that my father-in-law, well, he's my ex-father, complicated. Anyway, he and I would talk, and I would love to just listen to some of the stuff he told me about. He got into this whole Atlantis is real, aliens are real. When we went up to the moon, like, they stopped us and said, "Hey, motherfucker, let's get the back down there because you ain't coming up here." And I was like, "Tell me more." And we talked about all these really cool things. And mind you, he's so, like, he's got like white hair. I don't mean like grayish. I mean white. And when I talked to him, I would absorb everything he told me, and there were so many stories. Mind you, could all of them be true? He drank a lot. Yeah. No, they
There's
might
nothing
not
wrong with
all
that,
been
sir.
true, but there was a lot of them where I was like, "Oh shit, yeah, you're saying something right there." And when I was younger, there's a few things that I saw. I lived out in Illinois. Mind you, none of this is factual, so I can't say, this is what I know. But I've seen shit myself. Being out in the woods, being out in the middle of nowhere. I used to go out in the middle of the woods in the middle of the night, and hell, it could have been a ghost for all I know, but that's a different subject. Aliens? Oh, I saw some shit in the middle of the woods. Scared the crap out of me for the rest of my life. I will never see that shit any differently. So, hands down for me, yeah. Do I have any factual proof? Nah, unfortunately, I don't.
Well, this one's a bit of a hard one, just because how vast the universe is. It's hard to say to 100% accuracy that there is not intelligent life out there. But with that being said, there is going to be life in the universe. We found that there's going to be a high chance because we have stuff here on the planet that is able to survive in just about anything, right? They're shown as extremophiles.
Mhm.
They are able to survive anywhere. And I'm guaranteeing you that those kind of things are all over the universe. Now, the question is not whether we have life, but whether it's intelligent life. And I think at the current moment, we do not. If you ever heard of it, there's a thing called the Drake equation, where it breaks down a bunch of different variables that needs to be met to be able to calculate what it would need to be able to find intelligent life. And one that's very important that people never think about when it comes to intelligent life is time. We have to be at the exact right moment right now in the universe to be able to be in the same time as intelligent life. Now, I'm not going to say that there was not intelligent life before us and there may not be intelligent life after us, but I do not think that there's currently intelligent life available to us to say for sure that there is something out there. As vast as the universe is, we may never know in the time of our existence whether there was somebody or not. But I can guarantee you right now, I don't think that we've been having anywhere near the number, if at all, the amount of visitors that have been coming around. Not to put your story down, Nigel, but there is almost always a coincidental or easily answered why a thing has happened to almost every one of those ancient alien stories that have come around. So I think right now, in this exact moment in time, there is not intelligent life in the universe that we will ever find. Now, there will be life, just not intelligent life.
So, all around the world, there are several different locations that existed at several different times
Mhm.
in history where there's writing on the wall of pretty much the same thing. Guys with like bobbleheads or floating devices, and mind you, it's all very archaic and very just. It's writing on the wall. Guy picked his nose and whatever. But
Yeah,
I obviously don't think that that's if booger picker here is booger picker there in two different eras on other sides of the planet. That's too coincidental. That's too on the money. The Aztecs, the Egyptians, all those huge and monumental pieces that have been put all over the planet. Mind you, aliens may exist, but if you don't have proof, if you don't bring me an alien, yeah, it's hard to say it's factual. But there's too much deep down inside me and around the world, countless people who would say they exist.
and again, it's hard to disagree with because this is such a hard to approve or disprove because of a lack of evidence either which way. It's similar to the concept of whether there's God or not. But with this concept of things like the paintings, like we're just talking about, where you have these guys with bobbleheads, or things that look like ships, or things like that. My daughter, who is 4 years old, brings me finger paintings that look like that stuff all the time too. So it's very likely that you can see something like that. And my daughter's never seen those kind of paintings, but I'll guarantee you that they're going to look very similar to the ones that are on there. It's more to do with the medium that you're drawing with, the the reference that your brain is trying to type into what the thing is that you're trying to draw. There's a reason that there's not a billion painters out in the world because majority of us suck at drawing, right? So I mean, Nigel, yourself, you just had to hire an artist. I'm assuming that's because you're not Picasso. So, uh, going on something like
I
that.
made this.
All right, so you're better than I thought, but I am for sure not. I can't draw a lick to save my life, right? I know Tom can't either. So my point being is, majority of people can't. But little kids, they grow up doing the same kind of painting drawings that you see on those walls of bobblehead people, stick figure people, taller people. You see all kinds of
Can't
stuff like
deny
that.
that.
So it's hard to use that as evidence either. But again, it's hard to say it's not. Based off of the Drake equation, though, which was broken down scientifically, it is damn difficult to say that there is intelligent life anywhere that we will ever know in our time.
No, I actually agree with that. So I didn't.
Ryan?
No, before Ryan goes,
Oh, sorry, yeah, bye.
Peanut Gallery. So, there's so many things that could be said one side or the other. What I want to do is I just want to say, like, kind of the perspective that I would have taken if I was in Brian's shoes, because absolutely possibility of intelligent life in the universe is high. The universe is huge. Let's not even think about the universe for a second. Let's think about the galaxy. The galaxy has billions, trillions of solar systems. The galaxy is huge. So the potential is obviously endless. Brian, I liked what you said. Like, you brought up a good point, that equation, and with time, most of the stars that we see are already dead. They've already been destroyed, or whatever.
Hey guys, it's Brian. Just want to catch up real fast with you. During this episode, we were not able to do the Riverside FM commercial, so I'm going to put that in right here. So Riverside FM has been a great streaming tool for us lately. It's been what we've been streaming with and recording with. It's a online cloud streaming service that is a subscription service that you're able to set up and do podcasts, YouTube videos, streaming, everything that you need to do right there. If you go and hit our link below and you go ahead and help us out with this, you can sign up with Riverside FM to start your podcast, streaming, start streaming yourself, or do whatever you think that you need to do to be able to do it. It's great because they are able to do all the streaming stuff that you need, and you don't have to have the equipment to do it. It does all of that for you. You just have to have a camera. If you want to do camera, you need to have a mic or a headset to do that with, and it helps you out with everything. They also just came out with their 2.0 version, which means I now have an app to do everything with as well. It's fantastic. So again, hit that link below for Riverside FM and get started today.
Real quick, we had to take a break. Before I give my last few thoughts, Gina, give your thoughts, and then Ryan, I'll let you give your thing, and then there's just a few more things that I want to add. I just don't want it to be relevant to the argument.
Okay, so I have to clear my mind here because I did smoke before we started this. We're still on the alien thing, right?
Yes.
Correct.
All right, so, we were talking about intelligent life, right? And how there may be life out there, but there may not be intelligent life. Well, we have to think about it here, too. How many individuals do we come across every single day that we're like, how are you even functioning? They really don't have a whole lot of intelligence. There's so much stuff that the military has seen and captured that they're starting to release onto the to the national news, stuff flying through the air, stuff I've personally seen, things I hear and see every day. Like, maybe it's because I'm an intuitive, maybe it's because I'm able to communicate with spirits. I don't know. It could be crossing, but there's definitely shit out there. They may not be intelligent, but there is definitely life, and there are things that are interacting with our military that they're catching. So, there's got to be some kind of intelligent something. I mean, even just a single cell organism has to have some kind of intelligence to be able to function. You know what I'm saying? So there is intelligence, just to what level? That's how I feel about it.
Straight line.
Exactly.
Isn't that how it's deduced? If something can make a straight line, it's considered intelligent?
Yeah.
The concept for intelligence, there's two variant kinds. There's the Asimov test, which is several different questions. Well, that's the other one, is the mirror question. That's the consciousness test.
Mhm.
Is if something could look in the mirror and recognize itself is considered to have consciousness.
Self-recognition.
Yeah. But then there's the Asimov test, which is what they do with robots. But that is also the very vague question of what's considered intelligent or conscious life. That being said, Ryan.
Okay. So I think you have a point with the, there being life but not quite intelligent life. I think that there are too many places on the earth that have too many things in common. Mm-hmm. Specifically, like the pyramids, or what is it? The Nazca lines.
Nazca lines. Yeah.
Yeah. So those, I think that there has been intelligent life in the past. I don't think that there is intelligent life anymore, but I think that there definitely was. And let me read the wording of the question again, because I can't remember exactly what it said. Does it exist? We'll go with yes. I'm with Nigel on this one. I think that there
Okay.
is intelligent life.
Yay, Nigel.
Well,
All right, I just have
So
one
you win.
thing to add. I didn't want to add it because it's my argument, and I didn't want to have any sway on the existing argument. But there
Let's hear it,
was
church boy.
I can't remember the guy's name, but he did some equations. He used a lot of math with the amount of species that we know of on Earth, and us as humans being kind of like the quintessential example of intelligence, with how common that would be, and with how many solar systems are in just our galaxy alone, and with how many planets in said solar systems that are orbiting their sun similar to ours that we know of, that would make it an environment able to sustain life as we know it. Intelligent life is not uncommon. In fact, with how old our galaxy is, every single planet should have been terraformed and should have life on it now.
that is actually the original running of the Drake equation that you're bringing up. It's been modified since then, but the Drake equation is exactly that.
Yeah. And so
They've modified it from that point on to do time and other things and break it down. But
yeah, so I guess like that would have been my argument, is like there should be, but there's not. The galaxy that we live in should have life that we know of. The fact that a satellite you can get on Google Maps and zoom in and see deer, but we can't, we can't find anything. So I would say that's the argument against life. And our galaxy is much younger than the universe. I think it's much more likely to say that that we live in a simulation, honestly. And if
Damn.
the stories of aliens coming and visiting, you could consider that like a like a drop on Call of Duty, like we earned it.
a loot box.
But yeah, loot box. I guess like it is so much more likely that we are living in a simulation than there is intelligent life. That would have been my argument. That's but I didn't want that to be part of. I didn't want to sway anything at all. So I just wanted to add that tidbit.
Let me just say real fast on this one. I actually do believe that there is intelligent life out there. But the argument, of course, forced me to be on my other side of this. There is a lot of concepts that, with the Drake equation and other things, that makes us think that there's probably intelligent life out there. I'm just not 100% sure we've ran into it yet. If anything, I think it's more like the Prime Directive from Star Trek, where you don't mess with a level of intelligence that hasn't reached up to a certain level yet. And that's why we haven't actually truly seen anything, because we haven't reached that level of intelligence yet.
Yeah, that's what my my stepfather told me. He was like, "Yeah, they told us to go back down there, keep growing. You're not done yet."
That's right. When you're 18, you'll get this. Okay.
That's basically what it was. Until you can stop bombing each other, you ain't gonna even know that.
That's right. All right, guys. Well, with that win, Nigel wins our first ever mini debate cutthroat challenge. So,
congratulations,
Yeah.
Nigel,
Nigel.
your first time on.
yeah.
That was more luck of the draw. I just got too many on the side that I was going to be on anyway.
It's all right. It's all right. The art of the debate is never going with the side that you want, but going with the side that you're given.
Yeah, just
Right.
being the master of it.
Yeah. And I am a master debater. Just ask my wife. That being said, guys, I want to thank both Nigel and Gina for joining us tonight, guys. Thank you so much for joining us in this fun debate, being the Peanut Gallery, bringing up your concepts, winning a debate that you're on, Nigel. So real quick, Nigel, what's going on with you? How can people find out about your new business that you're working on and be able to see more about it?
Oh well, as of right now, everything's conceptual. I've got about, I want to say 4 months, January-ish. If I'm thinking about that right, I'm hoping to have a bunch of new product out from her. I've got canvases, one of which I did, just kind of putzing around. I love Gundam. You can see that shit behind me. I I'm nerdy when it comes to the sci-fi and all that such, and she's more of the Halloween, which is now. So as of right now, I don't have anything for anyone to go to, but if you really want to check something out, it is going to be deviant if you know anything about that one, it's going to be EasilyEArt Entertainment. You can go check that out. As of right now, it's just some of her doodles. She has fun. I work with her. Very outgoing soul. She is beautiful, beautiful inside and out. She has so many things going on with her. Right now, she's actually just suffering from a disease, autoimmune, and
Yeah.
she's been going through a lot of heart issues. So I'm trying my best to try and get her art going, so she can go home. She can do nothing but art, and she can try and get better.
Right on, and that's just amazing, man. Helping somebody out like that. Now, guys, what we'll do is we will tag anything that he or her come up with, and we'll put it on our Instagram. And then once they have a site to go to, whether it's Deviant or whatever, we'll also tag that in there. So stay tuned with our Instagram, and we'll post everything or repost everything that they do.
Right on.
So,
Yeah.
and Gina,
Yes.
thank you again for joining us, and tell us about your business and any way that people can find you or help you out with what you're doing.
Okay. I have two projects that I'm actually going forward with. My first one I've been doing for about a year. I'm a handmade soap, candle, bath bomb, all the pretty foo-foo lady things. All
Okay.
novelty.
First of all, I like that shit. So it's also it's human things.
Okay, excuse me, pamper self.
You're right with ladies. You're right with ladies.
Self-love. 100% novelty, all themed after the Wizard of Oz, Disney, all of that. It's called the Westward Witch Co. I'm found in stores in Mariposa, California. I'm also on Facebook, Instagram at thewestwardwitchco.com as well. I have a website. And I also have a YouTube channel where I do my intuitive readings, and it's called Intuitive Readings with Gigi, and you can find me there. So that's what I do.
Awesome. And again, guys, you'll be able to see all those links right down here in the comments. And we will also be sharing that stuff on our social medias as well. So again, guys, thank you so much. And being that this is the first time that you guys have joined us, I want to let you know that we end every week the same way. I say, as always, and you guys will respond with fight on. Okay? So, guys, thank you again for joining us this week. And as always,
Fight
fight on.